Scorpio, pause and listen. That tightness beneath your collarbone is not random. Somewhere close to your life, a facade just cracked. Someone who stood on a pedestal slipped. You did not push it. You did not have to. Truth has its own gravity. When the false collapses, space opens. And when space opens, Scorpio steps forward. This is not about revenge. It is about replacement. What once blocked your lane is moving aside, and the quiet sound you hear beneath the noise of the day is your timing arriving. If familiar rooms suddenly feel too small and familiar faces no longer fit, that is not moodiness. That is accuracy. Your soul refuses to shrink any further. I am speaking to you as a longtime Scorpio researcher in the United States. I have watched this moment repeat across cities, jobs, families, and love stories. A private fall elsewhere becomes the invitation for Scorpio to rise without apology, not to prove a point, to keep a promise you made to yourself when no one was watching. Here is the promise of tonight. You will not be asked to become someone else. You will be asked to become precise. Precise with your mornings, so your day follows your intention. Precise with your boundaries, so your energy stops leaking into what does not feed you. Precise with the door the past must knock on if it wants a second chance. Precision is not cold, it is kind. It protects what is sacred about you. Check your body right now. Where does the pressure sit? Chest, throat, stomach, name it. Feel your feet on the floor. Under the pressure, there is a thin thread of calm that was not there last year. That calm is not denial. It is strength earned the long way. You learned to hold your fire without burning your own house down. You learned that silence, when chosen on purpose, is a complete sentence. Here is the thesis in one clear line. Someone just fell and it triggers your rise. Not because the universe keeps score in your favor, but because truth creates a vacuum, and a vacuum demands a new center of gravity. You know how to be that center. You have known it since the first time you kept a promise that no one else would have noticed if you broke it. Stay with me to the end. You will walk away with words you can use the next time an old number lights up your phone. A simple ritual to make the right choice when your heart races in two directions, and one sentence that places your signature on this season. We will not obsess over who fell. We will read the opening their absence created and step through it cleanly. Breathe. Let your shoulders drop. In a moment, we will enter the first scene where the fall you did not cause clears the road you were always meant to travel. Before we do, say this softly so only your bones hear it. I choose aligned beginnings over recycled endings. Now we begin. Part 1. The fall you didn't cause. Picture a Tuesday that smells like burnt coffee and printer toner. An office in Chicago, early lights stuttering through the blinds. Maya Scorpio, disciplined, precise, arrives 10 minutes early like she always does. She plugs in her laptop, stacks her notes, and lets the room settle before anyone else fills it with noise. For months, she's felt a pressure in this place. A thin ache between the ribs, the kind you ignore because there's work to be done. She's watched a colleague, Evan, smile in meetings, echo her ideas, 2 beats later, then slide his name onto the finished product when no one was looking. She didn't chase credit. She chose results. That morning, the building hum feels different, as if the air itself is waiting. Maya opens her inbox. A thread leaps to the top, quick clarification. Evan has hit reply all by mistake. Lines of messages unspool promises he made to a client using language that matches Maya's private drafts almost word for word. One more scroll and there it is. He admits he can't deliver the feature, but will get Maya to polish it in the background. He says it like she's a utility invisible until someone flips a switch. 5 minutes later, a manager forwards the thread to HR. 10 minutes after that, the director is standing in the doorway, her tone clipped but controlled. We're reassigning responsibilities. Can you lead the presentation on Friday? Maya doesn't stand up in triumph. She doesn't send the thread to the entire department or type a victory monologue to a friend. She looks at the clock, breathes, and replies, "Yes." She deletes a sentence from her slide deck that used to defend her role because she doesn't need it anymore. When the truth finally introduces itself, you don't have to narrate the moment, you have to meet it. Here's what I want you to notice. The fall happened without Maya's hands on it. No scheming, no sabotage, no shadow work to bring someone down. Reality did what it always does, it aligned with itself. The only question for Scorpio is, will you step into the space it makes? At lunch, a coworker leans over the cubicle wall and whispers, "Did you see the emails?" Maya is tempted to roll her eyes, to say something sharp that would taste sweet for 10 seconds and then sour in her mouth all afternoon. She doesn't. She says, "I have a deck to finish." She turns back to her notes. You don't have to poison a well that's already running dry. You can simply walk to cleaner water. Not every fall is corporate. Sometimes the collapse happens in our circles, the places we call home. In a suburb outside Atlanta, a Scorpio named Denise hosts Sunday dinners for cousins and neighbors and whoever else needs a plate. She's the quiet presence at the end of the table, the one who remembers birthdays and dietary restrictions, who texts people after job interviews, who sends a small bouquet when someone's kid gets into college. Lately, though, she's noticed a pattern with a family friend, Lila. Compliments that bend into criticism, questions that feel like scouting missions. Lila shares stories that sound like concern until they reach the wrong ears, and then the details aren't quite true anymore. One night, a cousin pulls Denise aside in the kitchen. It's small talk until it isn't. "I thought you should know. Lila's been saying your new project isn't real. She told Auntie you're exaggerating what you do." It lands like a dull thud, not a shock. Denise rinses a plate. She hears her pulse, but not panic. She's been feeling the floor shift under this friendship for months, like a hairline crack forming beneath a rug. She doesn't stage a confrontation in front of the stew. She doesn't post a vague status online. She moves differently. She stops feeding the conversation that feeds on her. When Lila texts a quick question, Denise replies with a kind boundary, "I'm focused this month. I'm not available for long chats, but I'll see you at Auntie's on Sunday." At the next dinner, Denise talks warmly with the people who have always told the truth with their actions. She mentions the project to her uncle, who used to run payroll for a construction company. 2 weeks later, he introduces her to a client who becomes her largest contract to date. The moment Lila's influence collapses, the path that was always meant for Denise stops being blocked. There's a myth about Scorpio that we have to address here, that you thrive on revenge. You don't. You thrive on alignment. Revenge requires you to stare backward and stay tethered to the person who wronged you. Alignment asks you to face forward and let the world reorganize around your steadiness. Revenge is hot and quick. Alignment is cool and permanent. You're not responsible for the architecture of another person's fall. You are responsible for your posture when the echo reaches your doorstep. Do you stand straight and accept the opportunity, or do you waste the moment proving a point to someone who is already listening to a different lesson? I have watched this pattern across apartments in Queens duplexes, in Dallas row houses in Baltimore, and ranch homes in Phoenix. The form changes, the physics do not. A coach who plagiarized your proposal gets exposed by a client who did their homework. A friend who treated your boundaries as suggestions loses access when their favorite audience stops clapping. A partner who kept a second life behind a second password finally miscalculates, and the truth spills across the kitchen table. And there you are, not as judge, not as executioner, but as someone who knows what to do with an open lane. Here's the part that feels strange the first time you practice it. You will be tempted to narrate, to make sure everyone knows how long you waited quietly, how many times you offered grace, how often you swallowed your annoyance, how you were right. But the strongest presence in any room is the person who doesn't audition for it. When you are the fit, the seat at the head of the table eventually has your shape. So what do you do the moment the fall becomes visible? You anchor 3 things: your breath, your scope, your standard. Breath first. Do not sprint into the opening with adrenaline. Regulate hand to chest, hand to belly. 1 slow inhale, 1 slow exhale. Jaw unclenched, so you enter with the same steadiness you plan to keep. Scope next. Name the opportunity in 1 sentence, not 10. I can lead the client presentation on Friday. I'll take the Q4 accounts in the Northeast. I'll run Sunday dinner and the scholarship drive, not the gossip committee. The universe responds to clean signals. Standard last. Decide the minimum you will accept before you pick up the new responsibility. Title alignment. Rate alignment. Respect alignment. If they can offer the task but not the standard, the fall is not yet complete. Wait. Real openings come with real terms. When Maya took that seat at the front of the room on Friday, she didn't pretend amnesia. She didn't swing the spotlight around to burn the person who misused her work. She clicked to slide 1, delivered the strategy she had always had, fielded questions with that Scorpio gaze that says, I know what I'm talking about and I don't need to convince you. And after the meeting, when a senior VP asked to talk about future leadership, Maya didn't gush. She said, I'm open to that conversation. Let's schedule time next week. I'll send over my scope and outcomes in advance. She let the floor continue to rise under her feet. You don't need to celebrate someone else's collapse to honor your own timing. You only need to refuse the smallness that was keeping you in the wings. The moment the stage clears, step forward. Not to dance on anyone's mistakes, to do the work that has your name on it. Life lesson: power is the absence of desperation. When the untrue collapses, don't narrate the wreckage. Step where the ground is solid, state your standard, and let alignment, not noise, announce your rise. Part 2, from survival to creation mode. There is a difference between the Scorpio who survives and the Scorpio who creates. The surviving version of you wakes up already bracing for impact. You scan for what might go wrong, rehearse defenses, and spend the day putting out other people's fires. The creating version of you wakes up and sets a signal. You choose one thing that moves your life forward, and you do it before the world has a chance to talk you out of it. Same intensity, different direction. Survival spends energy, creation invests it. Let me take you to a quiet block in Philadelphia just before sunrise. Renee is a Scorpio single parent who has been holding her life together with night shifts and freelance design jobs squeezed into whatever time is left. She is good at surviving. She knows how to make $10 stretch and how to turn a no into a maybe with a single email. But she is tired of stitching days together like a quilt made from scraps. She wants a clean line. One morning, she decides to change the first 60 minutes, not the whole life, just the first hour. She writes 3 promises on a note and tapes it to the kettle where she cannot miss it. Silence before screens. 1 brave message before breakfast. No yes from fear. At 5:42 a.m., she stands barefoot in the kitchen and gives herself 2 minutes of quiet. No mantras, no music, just breathing with her hand over her heart until the pulse in her neck slows by a beat. Then she opens her laptop and sends 1 message that requires courage, not 10, 1. She pitches a small package to a former client who said to check back in the fall. She attaches a 1-page sample and a simple line about outcomes. Then she closes the laptop and pours coffee. She does not hover over the send button. She does not refresh. At 6:18 a.m., her son wanders in hair wild asking for cereal. Renee smiles because the day already moved forward and the city has no idea. She will answer messages later. For now, she is anchored. 2 weeks of this pass and something subtle begins to shift. The clients who have been thinking about it stop thinking and choose. A neighbor mentions her to a friend who runs a boutique. The friend asks for a proposal. Renee sends it with a number that used to make her throat tighten. She sends it anyway because she made a rule that she will not say yes from fear. And low pricing is fear with a calculator. She goes for a walk while the proposal sits in someone else's inbox. At a red light, she feels her stomach flutter, and instead of calling it a sign to back down, she calls it what it is. A body learning a new standard. Creation mode is not fantasy, and it is not frantic. It is a sequence you can repeat on bad days as well as good ones. It looks like this. Wake. Breathe. One brave step that moves the day. Right after that step, protect your focus. You will feel the urge to fill the next hour with tasks that feel productive but lead nowhere. Do not take the bait. Busy work is just fear wearing a planner. Here is language you can use when the world tries to pull you back into survival. Thank you for thinking of me. I am not available for unpaid strategy calls. Here is my booking link and my rate for a 90-minute consult. I appreciate the invite. I am protecting mornings this month. Afternoons after 2 work. I am keeping my energy on the things I can actually move. I am not discussing this in group chats anymore. Call me if there is an action to take. Notice the tone, warm, clear, no apologies. Your job is to move like someone whose time has value even before anyone else confirms it. Now, I want to give you a small sprint that has changed more Scorpios than any major overhaul ever did. It is a 72-hour creation sprint, 3 days, no drama. You repeat it anytime you feel yourself sliding back into surviving. Day 1, before noon, make a list of 3 results that would change the feel of your month. Only results, not tasks. Results that are yes or no in the real world. A booked meeting with a specific person. A deposit for a project. A line in your budget closed for good. Pick one and take the first visible step. That might be a message. It might be a calendar link sent with 2 possible times. It might be a flat yes to a number you have been dancing around. Day 2. Remove one leak. Cancel an auto-renewal you forgot about. Unsubscribe from the ongoing ask that never leads anywhere. Put a gate around your mornings by moving notifications off your home screen until 10. You are teaching your nervous system that you lead the day. Day 3. Ship something. A page, a pitch, a deck, a resume, a portfolio update. Not perfect. Finished. Then take a 20-minute walk and do not negotiate with yourself about what you just sent. You have moved. Let the world move next. If you are employed, creation mode might mean stepping toward the outcome you already deliver in secret. I want you to put your results on one clean page and ask for a scope and compensation conversation by a specific date. Use this sentence. I have been leading A and B, and they generated C last quarter. I would like to align title and compensation with this scope. Can we discuss by next Friday? Bye. Stop writing essays. Stop hedging. Your intensity does not need decoration. It needs direction. If you are independent creation mode means raising the floor and letting misaligned work pass by without trying to rescue it. When someone asks for a rush at a discount, you can say this. I can deliver by your deadline at my rush rate. If that does not fit your budget, I can start next month at my standard rate. You will feel the familiar spike of anxiety that says you should bend. Remember what bending bought you last time. Exhaustion and a client who kept asking for more. Creation mode builds a life you can keep. There is a moment in every Scorpio day when the old pattern tries to reclaim you. It usually happens right after you do the brave thing. The temptation is to pick up your phone and relieve the discomfort with noise. Do not. Walk to the sink and drink a glass of water slowly. Look out the window and name 5 ordinary objects. Lamp, neighbor's car, stop sign, cloud, brick. Then ask one question out loud. What small action keeps the promise I just made to myself? This is how you turn intensity into momentum, not by forcing big outcomes on command, but by stacking small, brave choices until reality has no choice but to match you. Renee's 3rd week of early mornings brought a reply from the boutique owner. The number she asked for was accepted without negotiation. She sat at the kitchen table and laughed quietly because nothing about her circumstances had been magical. She had not found a secret, she had made a sequence. Silence before screens. One brave message. No yes from fear. She could repeat this. She could teach this to her son when he was old enough to ask why his mother's eyes looked calmer even on hard days. Creation mode is not about being positive. It is about being precise. It does not ask you to smile through what hurts. It asks you to choose one action that proves to the day that you are no longer powered by panic. Life lesson: energy grows where clarity flows. Choose one brave step before the world is loud. Protect your focus from busy work disguised as urgency, and refuse to say yes from fear. Creation mode is a sequence you can repeat, not a mood you must feel. Part 3. When the past knocks, the door has rules. The number appears on your screen like a ghost with good timing. Not blocked, not saved, just there. Your stomach remembers before your mind does. Months of silence and then, hey, can we talk? We'll set this in Austin a Thursday evening. Traffic hums, heat lingers after sunset. A Scorpio named Liana stands at her kitchen counter, keys still in hand, reading that text. This is the person who taught her how to stay up until 3 a.m., talking about everything and nothing, and also taught her what it feels like to be chosen last, then asked to be grateful for the chance. Old you wants to sprint into an answer to resolve the tension by making it disappear. New you knows tension is information. You put the keys down. You breathe. When the past knocks, your door needs rules. Not walls rules. Rules protect the tenderness you earned. Rule 1. Consistency over confession. If they say, I've changed, the next sentence must be, here's what I did when you weren't looking. Real change leaves a paper trail. Therapy sessions they actually completed, amends they offered without demanding a round of yours boundaries. They're already living, not announcing. Rule 2. Congruence over poetry. Beautiful words aren't bad, they're just not evidence. You're looking for alignment between what they say at 9 p.m. and what they do at 9 a.m., between how they show up when you're glowing and how they show up when you're quiet. Rule 3. Pace is set by peace. If your nervous system spikes when you imagine a call you don't owe immediate access, you can set a pace that keeps your body safe enough to hear. Liana types, deletes, types again. Then she sends, I'm open to a conversation. I'm not open to reliving the old dynamic. For now, I'm available for a short call, not late night spirals. If that works, Thursday at 7. The response arrives in seconds. Thursday is perfect. I've missed you. Also, could we just FaceTime now? I'm outside your place. There it is, the test. Old pattern, new disguise. Pressure masquerading as urgency. Liana keeps her promise to herself. Not tonight. Thursday at 7 works. If that timing doesn't work for you, we can skip it. Notice the tone, warm, clear, not defensive. She names a boundary and provides a simple alternative. This is how you talk to the past without handing it the pen. Thursday at 7, the phone rings. Liana answers on speaker, notebook open. She doesn't perform calm. She is calm enough to listen. He starts where they always start. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I hate how it ended. I've changed. She asks 3 questions. Kind, direct, non-negotiable. What did you change specifically without me in the room? How do you plan to protect my peace when you're triggered? What does earning back trust look like in actions, not promises? Silence stretches, then a long exhale. I started therapy in March. I've gone every week. I apologized to my sister for the same pattern disappearing when it gets hard and asked how to show up. I've been off social late at night. If you feel unsafe, I'll step back without punishing you. If we try this, I'm okay meeting in daylight, short hangs first, no pressure. Is this perfect? No. Is it something? Yes. It is a beginning that knows it's a beginning. Liana adds one more line, because Scorpios don't trade clarity for chemistry. Here's what I need. If we try punctuality, no double texting when I say I'm out with friends, no big talks after 10 p.m. And if you disappear, I'm not sitting in the waiting room again. Fair, he agrees. She doesn't reward the bare minimum with a flood of intimacy. She closes the call at 20 minutes. She writes the date and 3 observations in her notebook. Didn't get defensive when I named boundaries. Asked how to rebuild, not how to rewind. Didn't push for a late night visit. She will watch for patterns over the next 30 days. Not vibes patterns. Let's step out of romance for a moment. Sometimes the past is a business partner who left you with invoices and apologies. Sometimes it's a friend who loved you best when you were small. The same rules apply. Scripts you can use. I'm open to a clean conversation. I'm not available for rehashing or blame. 20 minutes works this week, Tuesday at 6. If we reconnect, it's on a trial basis. Clear scope, clear timeframes, everything in writings. If that doesn't work, I wish you well. I don't do pop-ins or surprise calls. Send your thoughts by email. I'll reply when I'm able. And if the past tries to speed run your boundary with flattery or panic, I don't make decisions from pressure. If this is real, it'll still be real on Friday. A word about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a key you hand someone else. It's a release valve inside your chest. You can forgive and still say no. You can forgive and say yes with rules. You can forgive and take 6 months before you decide anything at all. Scorpio does not forget. Scorpio integrates. A word about self-doubt. After the call, you might feel ashamed. Echo, am I being too harsh? Shouldn't love be easier? Here's your reframe. Love is easier when patterns are cleaner. Your standards make love possible, not smaller. 2 weeks later, Liana meets him for coffee at noon, not midnight. He arrives on time. He doesn't reach for her hand across the table like old times. He asks questions, listens, doesn't make the past tonight's main character. When she leaves, she notices her body is not buzzing, it's steady. That steadiness is the only green light she trusts. If it holds, she'll take the next small step. If it disappears, she'll close the door cleanly and without a speech. Life lesson. Clarity isn't cruelty. Rules protect tenderness. If the past returns, it must earn the present without borrowing your future. Choose on the pace of your peace. Ask for evidence, not poetry. And remember, forgiveness can coexist with not yet or no. Part 4. The body leads, the mind follows. You can be brilliant on paper and still make the wrong choice if your body is screaming while your mind is reasoning. A dysregulated body will call danger what is merely unfamiliar and call safe what is simply familiar. So we regulate first, then we decide. Let me set this in Seattle on a rain-bright morning. Jordan, a Scorpio producer, is headed into a pitch meeting with a streaming network. She's prepared deck-tight numbers, clean story arc, bulletproof. Yet in the elevator, her breath goes shallow. Hands tingle, vision narrows. Her mind starts selling her the old lie, maybe reschedule, maybe the timing's off, maybe wait for better signs. She doesn't negotiate with the spiral. She gives her body a signal, feet hip width. One hand on chest, one on belly. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 2, exhale through the mouth for 6, twice. Then she lifts her eyes from the phone and uses the room to orient names, 5 neutral objects, quietly to herself. Fire alarm, fern gray, chair brass, handle, exit sign. Last, she softens her jaw by exaggerating a yawn, loosens her shoulders by 1 precise inch, and lets her gaze widen to take in the edges of the hallway. The elevator dings. The panic hasn't been cured, it's been contained. Now her intuition can actually be heard. Here's the distinction. Scorpios miss when they're tired. Adrenaline is noisy. Intuition is exact. Adrenaline floods you with urgency. Intuition feels like a bell called clear specific. You can't hear the bell if the siren never stops. That's why we give the nervous system simple cues that say, we are here, we are okay, we can choose. Use this 2-minute reset anywhere, restroom, car, stairwell, even at your kitchen sink before you answer a text you shouldn't. 1. Anchor your body. Feet on ground, hand to chest, hand to belly. 2. Breathe 4-2-6 twice. If you need a backup, do 1 double exhale, small inhale, fuller inhale, long, slow exhale. 3. Orient. Name 5 neutral objects you can see. 4. Soften jaw, drop shoulders. 5. Ask 3 questions in a calm voice. Do I feel smaller or larger after imagining this choice? Am I acting to avoid pain or to honor peace? If I could tell no one would, I still know this is right. This is not about becoming Zen. It's about turning your intensity into accuracy. A second scene. New Orleans in late afternoon. Tasha Scorpio is about to walk into her sister's house for a conversation they've avoided for a decade. Their mother's will-old resentments, new responsibilities. In the car, Tasha watches her mind rehearse comebacks and keeps losing the plot. She pauses and uses a different tool, the 90-second wave. Feelings, especially fear or anger, surge like a wave and naturally ebb if you don't feed them new thoughts. She sets a timer for 90 seconds and lets the feeling move through heat in cheeks, buzzing in forearms that hollow in the stomach. She watches it like you'd watch a summer storm roll past a window. She doesn't add commentary. When the timer ends, she speaks her boundary aloud. Once I'm here for a calm talk about the will. If it turns into attacking or scorekeeping, I'll leave. Then she goes in, not armored, not exposed, clear. For Scorpio, bodily precision is power. A few practices make your decisions cleaner within days, not because they change your fate, but because they change your signal. The sleep window. Pick a 90-minute window for lights out, for example, 10, 30, 12. Keep it for 7 nights. You're not chasing perfection. You're giving your hormones a rhythm. Regulated sleep shortens the distance between what you know and what you do. Hydration as electricity. Drink a full glass of water upon waking and before any tough conversation. Dehydration mimics anxiety. You don't need another sign. You need conduction. The 2-minute walk. Every time you send a brave message, raise request proposal boundary, stand up and walk for 2 minutes. Motion discharges nervous energy so you don't undo your courage with 3 follow-up texts. The 1-place rule. Pick a physical location in your home that equals deciding place. A certain chair, the end of the dining table, a stool by the window. You only make hard calls there. The body builds associations. After a week, you'll notice you think straighter when you sit in that spot. Micro boundaries for your body. No big talks after 10 p.m. No important texts answered while standing. Sit, breathe, reply. No decisions on days you're underfed, underslept, or over-caffeinated. If it's real, it will still be real tomorrow at noon. If you're wondering whether this is spiritual enough for Scorpio, understand, your spirit chose a body to house it. When your body is regulated, your spiritual gifts sharpen. Your hunches land as sentences, not static. Your presence says what your mouth doesn't have to. Let's return to Jordan in Seattle. She enters the conference room steady. When an executive interrupts her mid-sentence, old patterns flicker, rush over, explain, prove. She takes 1 unobtrusive breath, softens her jaw, and lets silence do a second of work. Then she restates her point, shorter, colder, clearer. The room recalibrates to her tempo. Her body set the tone. Her mind followed. After the meeting, she doesn't replay every moment. She drinks water, schedules a follow-up, and takes the long way down the stairwell to bleed off adrenaline. She protects the win instead of smearing it with self-analysis. And Tasha. In her sister's kitchen, when voices lift, She uses a line she practiced in the car. "I'm not doing this tone. We can pause and try again Saturday, or we can keep this calm." It disarms the room because she didn't apologize, didn't attack, didn't fold. She anchored. The conversation resets. They don't solve everything. They end without poison. That's a victory Scorpio can build on. You don't have to earn your calm with perfect circumstances. You give your body a few repeatable cues and let your mind take its orders from there. This is how you stop calling chaos chemistry. This is how you stop mistaking urgency for importance. This is how you let your depth lead without burning you down. Scripts you can use today. Before a tough call, I want a clean conversation. If voices rise or we drift into blame, I'll pause and reschedule. At work, when adrenaline spikes, I'll circle back in an hour with the exact numbers. Then regulate, verify, respond. When a text hits your nervous system like a siren received, I'll get back to you tomorrow by noon. You've just bought your body time to tell the truth. When you're tempted to chase an answer immediately, if it's aligned, it will still be aligned on Friday. Life lesson, regulate then choose. A calm body makes accurate intuition. Anchor your breath, widen your gaze and ask cleaner questions. Don't hunt for signs in the chaos, become the signal your future knows how to find. Part 5. Money moves that match your frequency. Scorpio intensity is your currency focus loyalty depth. But if your numbers don't reflect your value, your life will always feel one negotiation behind your power. Money respects standards. When your standards get precise, money hears you. Let's start in Denver with Amir, a Scorpio analyst who became the person everyone asked for in a crisis. He fixed broken dashboards at midnight, mentored new hires quietly, and presented clients' wins as team wins. He also earned 5% less than the new person he trained. Not because he lacked value, because he lacked a stated floor. On a Tuesday, he sends an email with a one-page attachment. Subject, scope, and outcomes alignment. "Hi, manager. I'd like to review my current scope and align title, compensation with outcomes delivered. Q2 highlights attached. Led migration that reduced reporting time by 31%. Recovered $220K in at-risk contracts through client interventions. Created internal playbook adopted by 2 teams. Proposed range based on market data." Wow. Can we discuss by next Friday? He does 3 things right. He gives receipts, metrics, not adjectives. He names a range, not whatever you think is fair. He sets a date, not sometime soon. In the meeting, he uses short sentences and lets silence work. When they say budget is tight, he says, "I understand." What combination of title comp and bonus structure gets us to alignment by date? He keeps repeating the word alignment, not gratitude, alignment. They agree on an interim bump and a promotion review in 90 days, with 2 measurable targets he proposed. He leaves with a timeline, not a compliment. Now, Los Angeles. Tess, a Scorpio photographer who can turn chaos into portraits that look like secrets. She priced from fear for years, discounting in the moment and resenting the work later. We set a floor price, a rush rate, and a clear policy. Rate card internal floor, $1,500. Day rate, rush under 72 hours, 1.5x. Deposit, 40% to book non-refundable. Reschedule, 1. Free change with 48 hours notice, then $200 per change. Scripts. Tess now uses without apology. When asked for a discount, "I'm not a fit for budgets under $1,500. If your range changes, I'm happy to revisit." When asked to hold a date without a deposit, "I can hold the date with a 40% deposit. If that's not possible, I'll release it by Friday at 5. When a client wants the raw files aren't included. My deliverables are X edited images. If you need RAWs, the licensing fee is Huge. She raises her floor. 2 clients vanish. 3 better ones appear within a month because her signal is finally clear. In Houston, a Scorpio contractor named Deshaun keeps getting quick calls that turn into free strategy. He adds a paid consult. Happy to dive deep. My 90-minute strategy session is 315 with a written summary. If you move forward on a larger engagement within 30 days, I apply the $350 to the project. People who value him book. People who don't stop asking for free labor. His calendar gets lighter, his bank account heavier, and his mood steadier because he is no longer arguing with reality. Money isn't only about asking more, it's also about stopping the leaks. Do a 60-minute money clean, subscriptions, open bank/credit statements, and cancel 3 things you forgot you pay for. Micro leaks set hard limits on favor work that steals Saturdays. Late fees automate 2 payments you consistently forget. Rate. Check, call your internet or insurance provider and ask for the loyalty rate. You are not disloyal for asking. If you run a small business, set 3 thresholds. Floor, the absolute minimum you'll take. Standard, your usual healthy rate. Stretch premium for speed, complexity, or risk. Put them on paper. Decide in advance so your nervous system isn't pricing under pressure on a phone call. If you're salaried and fear the ask, try the 2-meeting raise. Meeting 1 minutes. I'd like to align scope and outcomes. May I send a 1-pager and meet next week? Between meetings, gather metrics, peer benchmarks, testimonials. Meeting 20 minutes, present calmly. Then ask, what's the path to agreement by date? If they stall, what milestone triggers the adjustment and who owns the next step? Then send a recap email the same day. Paper trails are protection. Shifting money energy will trigger old scarcity stories. Be grateful. Don't rock the boat. It's not the right time. Ask yourself who benefits when I believe that, usually not you. Gratitude and growth are not opposites. You can be grateful and still set a price that keeps you honest. A note on friends and family. You do not owe a discount because someone remembers your middle school nickname. You owe the relationship clarity. For you, I can offer small perk that doesn't cost your sanity, but I don't discount my work. If that doesn't fit, I love you and I'll cheer you on. Notice the tone warm, definite, no hidden barbs. Boundaries said kindly are still boundaries. Finally, upgrade your receiving. Many Scorpios are excellent earners and poor receivers. When a check lands or a tip exceeds expectation, don't rush to minimize it or turn it into a gift for someone else. Receive, name it, and anchor it. Payment received, thank you. Then move a set percentage to savings or debt on the same day. Treat money like a river you direct, not a storm you survive. And yes, say no. The universe often tests a new standard by sending a tempting but misaligned offer right after you raise your floor. If you say yes to what insults your boundary, you teach life to keep sending it. If you say no cleanly, you teach life to scale your yes. Scripts you can use today. Raise, promotion, ask. I've been leading X and Y with outcomes A and B. I'd like to align title and compensation. What's a path to agreement by date? Freelance floor. My minimum engagement is char. If that doesn't fit, I'm not the right match. Rush boundary, I can do that timeline at my rush rate. Otherwise, I can start Monday at my standard rate. Friend, family clarity. I don't discount my work for loved ones, but I can offer a small perk. If that doesn't fit, no hard feelings. Quiet, leak, stopper. I'm no longer available for unpaid strategy calls. Here's my consult link. Life lesson, wealth is a boundary before it's a balance. Set your floor, speak in receipts, not apologies, and let misaligned money pass you by. When your standards get precise, your income stops depending on adrenaline and starts depending on alignment. Part 6. The final test and the choice. Every Scorpio rebirth comes with a crossroads that looks like a blessing. It rarely arrives as a villain. It wears your favorite perfume. It speaks fluent nostalgia. It promises relief. The test is not designed to break you. It is designed to reveal you. Set the scene in San Diego, late afternoon sun turning the office windows gold. Carla, Scorpio strategist, just accepted an offer with a clean scope, healthy culture, and a manager who respects her calendar. As she's signing the final HR forms, her old company calls. The VP, who never learned her name, suddenly knows it. "We made a mistake. Come back. We'll add a title bump and 10%. 2 months ago, this would have felt like justice. Today, it feels like a rerun with new graphics." Carla's chest tightens. The old pattern moves in, make it easy for them, ignore what it cost you before pretend the Sunday dread was just a mood. She closes her eyes for one breath and uses the question that saved her life once already. "If I could tell, no one would this still feel right?" The answer is no. Not because the number is wrong, but because the nervous system remembers the price of being there. She thanks the VP and declines with one clean line, "I appreciate the offer. I've committed elsewhere. This new scope is aligned with how I work best. No essays, no autopsy. The past expects you to explain yourself. The future simply expects you." Now Brooklyn, a Thursday night. Nico, Scorpio musician, has been building momentum with small venues and serious collaborators who respect craft over clout. An old producer charming chaotic texts at 11:07 p.m. "Let's get the band back together. I've got a festival slot. Think summer 2019 energy, but bigger." Nico's palms tingle. The old version of him would have thrown shoes into a bag and chased a high. But he remembers the cost-delayed payments, vague contracts, apologies that rhymed but never changed. He uses the 72-hour decision ritual he keeps taped to his wall. Day 1. Write the story both ways, say yes, say no, and describe the first Monday in each timeline. Yes, waking up in a borrowed room chasing a producer for call times. No, a morning run, then rehearsal with the drummer who shows up early and tunes before playing. Day 2, ask 2 neutral witnesses, people who love your piece more than your drama. His cousin, a nurse who knows the body's truth. His friend, an engineer who knows how systems fail. Both ask the same question. Does this version of you need chaos to feel alive? Day 3. Take one small step toward the choice that keeps your chest open. Nico books 2 extra hours with his current band and writes a new bridge that changes the song. His body exhales. He texts the producer, "Appreciate you thinking of me. I'm not available for this. Wishing you a strong set." He leaves the door open to fate, not to the past. Sometimes the test isn't work. It's love showing up with better lighting. Atlanta again, a front porch after rain. Mariah, Scorpio, hears the knock she used to dream about. The person who left returns with new language and old eyes. They say everything she wanted to hear 2 years ago. The timing is cinema. The feeling is familiar. Mariah doesn't punish them for trying. She uses the rules she wrote in part 3 and adds one more: "I won't trade my peace for my preferences." She asks for a month of daylight dates, no sleepovers, weekly check-ins about patterns, and one specific amends that has nothing to do with romance, showing up to help her mother move. If they can be counted on for the unglamorous, maybe they can be counted on for the sacred. 3 weeks in, they miss a Saturday without notice. She closes the door gently. No speeches. She just stops letting someone who can't keep time hold a place in her future. Here's what the final test often reveals: whether you trust your calibration more than you fear your loneliness. The universe doesn't send these crossroads to punish you. It sends them to confirm you. You get to prove to yourself that you meant what you said when no one was clapping. A decision frame you can use anytime. One body first. Sit in your deciding place, one chair, same spot. Hand to chest, hand to belly. Breathe 4 to 6 twice. Name 5 neutral objects. Then ask, does this path make me feel more honest or more performative? 2 calendar second. Open your calendar and drop this choice into a real week. Where does it live? What gets pushed? What dies quietly if you say yes? Choices are not ideas, they are time. 3 cost third. What is the actual cost if I choose this money, sleep, reputation, access, self-respect? Write it. If you can't name the cost, you can't pay it. 4 witness last. Ask one person who loves your peace more than your drama to reflect back what they see. Don't argue for your favorite outcome. Listen for the sentence that stings and frees you. Scripts for accepting and declining cleanly. Accepting with standards I'm in. To keep this clean scope is X timeline Y rate Z. Let's put it in writing by Tuesday so we start aligned. Declining without a postscript. Thank you for the offer. I'm not available for this. Wishing you a strong outcome. Closing a loving door. I appreciate the effort you've made. I'm choosing not to continue. I'm keeping my peace intact and I wish you well. Recap email after a boundary talk. Good to connect. For clarity, we'll keep communications in daylight hours, no pop-ins, and we'll revisit in 4 weeks to assess. If anything shifts, I'll let you know. What if you choose wrong? Then you learn fast. Scorpios don't fear mistakes. We fear wasting them. If a choice tightens your chest and shortens your sleep, don't double down to save face. Reverse. Your pride can't cash checks your nervous system has to pay for. One more story. Small and ordinary because most tests are. Phoenix. Saturday morning. Gabe Scorpio promised himself he'd stop rescuing every group project. Neighborhood committee meets to plan a block party. By minute 12, the room is sliding toward old dynamics. 3 people debate, everyone else watches, and someone says, "Gabe, you always make things happen." He smiles and says, "I'll take 1 lane permits only. If we need more, we can hire help or scale back." The room blinks, adjusts, and gets to work. He goes home with energy left for his actual life. That is a pass on the final test at the micro level, choosing the aligned lane over the entire road. You don't need the universe to send a burning bush to know what to do at the crossroads. You need to trust that calm you've been building since the first scene of this video. The fall you didn't cause cleared your path. Creation mode gave you a sequence. Your body taught your mind to follow the right bell. Your money now speaks your standards. The test arrives to ask one question. Are you willing to live like all of that is true? Life lesson, courage is a decision, not a feeling. Choose the path where your chest loosens and your calendar looks like your values. If it's real, it will still be real after the adrenaline fades. If it withers under clarity, it was never yours. Conclusion. Your rise has a signature. Scorpio, breathe and take inventory. A fall you did not cause cleared space. You shifted from survival to creation with one brave act before the world got loud. You set rules for the past so tenderness stays protected. You let your body lead so your mind could choose with accuracy. You priced your intensity at its true value. You passed the final test by choosing the path where your chest loosened and your calendar matched your values. None of this required spectacle. It required precision. Precision with mornings. Precision with boundaries. Precision with the doors you leave unlocked and the ones you close gently for good. This season does not ask you to become louder, it asks you to become truer. When someone else's pedestal breaks, you do not have to narrate the dust. You step where the floor is solid and let alignment introduce you. Your presence will say what your mouth does not need to. Write this line on a scrap of paper and keep it where your hand can find it. I choose aligned beginnings over recycled endings. Say it before a call. Whisper it in a parking lot. Place it under a glass of water and drink it like a contract with yourself. 3 small actions to close this chapter and open the next. 1 brave message before noon tomorrow. Apply, propose, ask, or set a floor. Then walk for 2 minutes so your courage can settle into your body. 1 boundary in writing by sunset. A rate card, a schedule rule, a door policy for the past. Send it kindly and be done. 1 room reset at home. Clear 1 surface and make it a deciding place. Teach your body where clarity lives. If doubt knocks tonight with old stories about being too much or asking for too much, answer with evidence. You did not force this moment. You prepared for it. You did not chase it. You created a signal strong enough that it could not miss you. I am honored to walk this with you as a long-time Scorpio researcher. If this spoke to you, subscribe to the Path to Buddha Wisdom. In the comments write, I choose aligned beginnings, so I know you are here for the long game, and share the 1 small action you will take in the next 72 hours that puts your soul on record. You are not waiting for the light. You are the spark. Now go use it.